It is being called the worst admission scandal in the history of higher education. 50 people have been hit with federal indictments, including celebrities and wealthy parents who paid millions of dollars to guarantee their kids admission to elite universities.
The FBI dubbed the massive crackdown Operation Varsity Blues. The charges include conspiracy, racketeering, and wire fraud. Joining us now, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Ambrosio Rodriguez. Welcome back.
Good morning.
To see you.
Good morning.
I read through as much of the affidavit that I could get through. It was hundreds of pages yesterday, and I noticed that there were a lot of CW1, CW2, CW cooperating witnesses. How important is that for investigators here?
Federal cases always have cooperating witnesses. I mean, it's very standard in federal investigations that they will have other people cooperate in order to build a case. What's different about this case is that the second person they made a deal with is with Singer, right? It's kind of like making a deal with Don Corleone to get everybody else, behind him, right? Making a deal with Michael to get Fredo. And then they spent a year with him, basically have him call his clients in order to get him to talk more, right? Because the kind of built-in defense in this case for the defendant says, hey, I didn't know this guy was doing this. He just promised my kid would get into Yale. So everything that involves with intent and knowledge, they really went after that in the wiretaps that they did in the recorded conversation.
But they entrapped me.
Entrapment means that someone got you to do something that you wouldn't already have done, right? Not someone made it easy for you to do what you wanted to do.
I see. So we just saw that photograph. That's the center of this whole thing, the ringleader, if you will, named William Rick Singer. What are the charges that he could face? And then many people have been talking about maybe this is the tip of the iceberg. There could be more people like this around the country. He had a fake charity, and that's what the money was, supposedly going to, although the parents knew it wasn't, I would assume, going to a charity.
Correct. Not from the evidence they've already showed. So he pled. He's looking at a maximum of 19 to 20 years. And with federal sentencing, you plead, there's a sentencing guideline, and then there's a sentencing hearing like we saw with Manafort, right? Where the lawyers will argue what the judge should give. It's everyone else is looking at about 20 years, including Ms. Laughlin and Felicity Huffman. Thank you. So they're each allowed to have their trials. They might try them together. They're going to. This is something that started back in 2011. I don't think that this is the end. This is the beginning of the beginning. I mean, look, bribery is not a common thing in the United States. And the fact that he had this network of coaches that were being bribed for a lot of money, I doubt that he's the only one doing this. And according to news reports this morning, there are about 700 other people that were under investigation. This is just kind of the first batch. And when they made donations that they claim were charitable deductions in the IRS, that's fraud. And so I think that on top of all the legal problems they already have, I expect the IRS to be knocking at their doors pretty soon.
What do you think will happen to the kids who are already in college? I mean, if I'm a child who didn't know that my parents had done this to help me, and I'm in year 2 at Yale or USC or UCLA or someplace, what happens to me?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's going to be up to each individual university is going to have to make that decision. What if that kid got in there through fraud, but is actually a very good student? And so it's kind of, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't by the university. I think we're just all beginning to react to this. I mean, look, a lot of us are kind of aware, just because of the age of our children, of the whole college admission nightmare, and they have these counselors, and it's completely different to the way it was when I applied to college more than 34 years ago, right? So now, I mean, we're talking about $40,000, $70,000 just for a consultant, and about gaming the system. So I think that there's a lot of people that are going to be found out that were involved in this one way or the other.
All right, again, Ambrosio Rodriguez, a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. You can check out his website. Also, follow him on Twitter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.